You are now listening to Artists at Work.
Artists at Work.
Artists at Work. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Artists at Work podcast. I'm your host, 1AM.
I'm Isaias.
Today, we don't have a guest, but we do have a topic. And I think this is probably one of the most important topics that, regardless if you're in music or if you're in art or if you're just an entrepreneur, this topic is super important to have as a foundation of what you do and why you do it. So the topic today is, what is your why?
That's a big question. It's very important to do this podcast, not just for ourselves, but we want to put it out there also into, just out there for you guys as well to sit on it, question it, and think about it as you move forward. Also in your career, in your art, whatever it is you got going on. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of notes just to help us stay on track. And basically, so the question is, what is your why? And your why is basically the foundation of, or the foundation or like the driving force that keeps you going, keeps you motivated when things get hard, helps you remember why you're celebrating what you're celebrating when you get wins. And sometimes it's easy to forget why we're doing something, and then we start to hate what we do, especially if you're doing something that is your hobby and making it your job, like music, for example, I know, like, for independent artists and musicians, finding your why can help you create music that reflects, your background, your experiences, different challenges. I think it also helps you connect with your audience when you have a strong why.
Yep.
There's definitely been a lot of artists that we've come across throughout the years of my music career, and just the ones that had a very strong why, they were the ones that we're still friends with till this day, because we know who they are as human beings. We know
Yeah.
we respect what they do and their reason behind it. And majority of the time their reason behind it, like, we identify with that. We can relate.
Yeah, I mean, and this weekend was a good example. You kind of made me think about when I was learning about podcasts, like
Mhm.
why people want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask because it can steer someone's like direction, like. But um, and like you said, that's a difference between a podcast that is just maybe very loose and kind of not so structured
Yeah.
versus other ones that like hit very powerful and they're impactful
Right.
and you know exactly why they had to do that podcast,
Yeah.
and that's the content we consume, and that's why
Right.
podcasts are so powerful because
Right.
there's so much value.
I could say the same about albums and certain pieces of art, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, for this podcast too, like, I think it's I started this back in 2020.
I
So
remember like the inception. Of course everyone wanted to start a podcast.
but
Remember?
I
But
didn't necessarily wanna start a podcast just because everyone
no.
else was doing it, but my why for this podcast was basically being able to connect all the artists that I've met throughout the years, and basically, like, picking their brains and sharing a lot of the experience and knowledge that they had, I felt was very important and very, like, helpful to a lot of, young artists that are coming up, that there's a lot of, like, things in the music industry that isn't really talked about, and especially, like, if you wanna be an independent artist, there's not too much, at least from when I was looking, there wasn't too much
It's like a
information
gray area,
about
right? Yeah.
how are you making this work at, you know what I mean?
Is it
Like,
sustainable?
yeah,
And we hit on
exactly.
that in a lot of
A lot of the
it.
different episodes.
Yes, with a lot of artists.
And a lot of the artists that we've had on this podcast have very strong whys, and that's another reason why we've had them on, because they know why they're pursuing their music. They know more or less where they wanna end up, you know what I mean? And the rest is some of them are still trying to figure out how to make that goal happen, and
Mhm.
some of them kind of figured it out, and some of them, can just share knowledge.
No, that's really important,
We can probably start with how to identify your why and how to apply it. So, to identify your why, you should try to ask yourself these questions. Why do I make music? What are my
mm,
core values, as a person? What makes me happy and fulfilled? What are my passions and my talents? What are my goals for my music? And what are the problems that I want to solve? Those are some of the questions that I wrote, but I think those can kind of help some of you artists out there that are, wanting to pursue music, because it's definitely important to know why you're doing something. And in doing that, it'll help you stay consistent, because consistency is probably one of the biggest things that we see that a lot of artists lack. You know what I mean?
longevity, right? That's
You
yeah,
have to really, like, if you're really in this, you have to see it through. You know what I mean? Like, you have if a lot of things are not gonna go your way. That's just the reality in whatever field you go in. And you have to take lessons. You have to learn from your mistakes. You know what I mean? You gotta, like,
yeah,
find mentorship if you can. You gotta keep pursuing and being consistent so that you can grow.
yeah,
And in a lot of those turmoil times, a lot of those hard times, if you know why you're doing something, and that's a good reminder to, like, help you keep on, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
to keep pursuing, not giving up.
yeah. The difference between a lot of artists that don't consistently make music
Mhm.
or that don't have a lot of, like, that passion. I mean, it's hard every day to, tell yourself like, "Oh, like, I'm doing it for this." So, therefore, every day, then you do something towards, like, making your album happen. What was I thinking about? I was thinking about, question, because a lot of people say this is like, you could ask people, like, why they make music,
Yeah.
and they'll probably say, I just love making music." Do you think that's a good enough answer, like, a good enough answer for why? That
Um,
to continue, I
I don't
guess?
I don't think so, because, like, as human beings, we fall out of love all the time.
Or we're not always in it.
We get
Yeah.
bored. Like, I get bored of a lot of things. Sure, like, I do love music, that's why I do it, but there are times where it's not fun, and that's when I gotta step back and stop.
Mhm.
So, I think, like, because I love music is, like, a common why, but it's not. I don't think it's, like, a strong why,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a difference to people who, like, "I love music," and then there's a difference to be like, "I need this. I bleed this," like,
Yeah, like,
um
there's certain artists that I identify with, because a lot of our whys are, like, music is a part of our life, and it's therapy. We understand the impact that it has on other people that we care about, or people in the world that we feel that need to hear, like, a good message. So, like, that that kinda ties into, like, my why is, like, I do it for me, but I also do it in hopes that it inspires and helps other people, and giving glory to God through
mhm.
that, because he blessed me with this talent, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think too, like, your why doesn't necessarily have to be like that, Like, there's some people that are business minded and their why is to make money,
Mhm.
right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but if that is your why, you gotta know the business, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta know what needs to be done to make your money through music.
And we're hitting that more and more in our podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's some artists that that's their why, and that's totally fine.
I have a question that I'm kinda thinking about, and I'm wondering, like, if someone does or doesn't have a why, a reason why they are doing what they're doing,
Mhm.
that could, like, I think, make or break their longevity and how long they continue it, or, like, they throw in the towel and give up
Yeah.
music or something. Not everyone figures out their why, like, right away.
Yeah.
And I think I said, like, it can happen, it doesn't happen all at once, and the order can be, like, weird. Like, people are in something, and then maybe they figure out their why after, like, being in a career, like, for 10 years or something. I just think that's really interesting too about how people discover their why. And what's also sad is, like, people who don't know their reason why, that continue on a path of, like, maybe complacency. Maybe they're not, because I see a lot of people, like, in everyday life that look really sad, like, doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Subway and I bought a sandwich, and
Well,
some
that's
people are just so monotone
well,
and,
that's
like, dead
different
inside.
though, 'cause
No, I
that's
know, but
nobody wants to work at, a job that
I
doesn't
know,
even pay them that
but
much, but
what I'm saying is,
we're talking about art and music.
yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, I feel like maybe there's people that are gonna see this, and maybe they don't know their why, and maybe they're in the, because we all have double lives. Not every artist is an artist 100% of the time.
Mhm.
They're likely, like, retail workers, whatever it is they're doing for their side jobs.
Yeah, and I bet they're probably working those jobs and daydreaming about making music,
M
right?
Okay, oh, yeah,
I mean,
art or something, I don't know.
that's what I would do. Like, when I worked at Gap, I used to work at Gap Outlet, and I'd be making, I'd be writing, in the break room
Rapping or what?
on my phone.
Yeah, ta 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 ta
No,
ta.
but I made a few songs and I would show 'em
Yeah.
to my coworkers, but, I think too, like, to bounce off what you said is, like, there's certain people that don't have a strong why. Like, for example, I was looking to buy the Focusrite interface. You remember on Let Go or OfferUp, whatever the app is called, but we were gonna meet with this kid. He was selling this brand new, like new,
All his gear. Well, yeah,
all
the
his music
headphones,
gear,
yeah.
and, yeah, actually, I got, headphones, a microphone, and an interface from him, and I asked him, like, "Oh, like, do you make music?" Like, "Why are you selling your gear?" He's like, "'Cause I didn't know how to use it."
We were like this.
Like, why not learn how to use it? Like, but maybe he didn't have a strong enough why to try to figure out how to use it, you know what I
To
mean?
continue. Yeah.
Like, when I first started, I didn't know how to use all this gear. I was recording myself on a mixer, like a live mixer, like, and it didn't even sound good. It sounded horrible and it was all distorted, and I was recording on an iPod till someone showed me what an interface was and how to set it up with the computer, but, like, if that kid had a stronger why of, like, why he wanted to make music, not just because he wanted to maybe, like, say he was a rapper or whatever, like, some people have that why. But he probably woulda stuck to it, a little longer, maybe woulda hold held on to that gear and try to learn it, you know?
Yeah.
But then there's also, like, artists that we've seen, at some of the live shows that are, like, bigger artists, and they're just like, I can't remember that guy's name, but he was, like, after his set, he was, like, just kinda standing by his merch table just, like, hella bored, like, he's just, like, used to this, It's like it's tour life where you just, like
Was that back at the Catalyst a
yeah,
long
that was
time?
at the Catalyst, I can't remember his name.
Bobby,
I
not
think
Bobby
was
Brackens?
it Bobby Brackens?
I thought it
Maybe
was.
it was.
Or was that,
He was, like, so
it
bored and,
was
like, just
with Ty Dolla $ign, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, and Ty
Yeah.
Ty was, like, getting all the attention, and you could tell, like, he was just, like it looked like the way he was, like, sitting at the merch table was just like, "Damn, like, why am I still doing this?
Or why am I here for,
Why am I here?"
yeah. He's
Um
a older
I don't
older
know where
head
he's at
already.
now, but
But
there's moments in time where you're, like, questioning,
I think it could,
"Why am I here? Why am I making music? Why am I here performing?"
that doubt. Definitely, maybe it's good to question that at every stage of your career and different years, like, am I following my why, or did I lose it? Like, where am I? Hopefully what we get from this is, like, in defining what is your why, and us learning, like, ourselves what is our why, establishing and defining that, and then others who see this podcast, like, thinking about it too in real world terms, in artist terms, as a musician,
Mhm.
like why is it what you're doing worth pursuing? Like
Yeah,
why? Yeah.
like, why do you even want to be a singer or a rapper or producer? You gotta ask
Or
yourself
in the industry
that
at all.
question. Or,
Just
yeah,
yeah,
in music
behind
business, there's a
m
bunch of
maybe
different
doing
careers.
audio.
Yeah, maybe doing audio like me. Having that conversation with yourself, hopefully that helps you in your journey to know where to go from there. You know what I mean? Me, I've been doing this, I think now for like close to 13 years.
Wow.
My why is so strong that I just keep pursuing education in it, dealing with different types of audio stuff. Like I'm doing live sound, like that's something new for me.
You're doing your bachelor's
Yeah,
now,
I'm
like,
going to get my bachelor's
that's
degree.
a huge deal that I think
Um,
where should be
and
highlighted.
I'm still in the middle of everything. I'm still doing this podcast. I'm still working on my own music. Like I have a very strong why because I really believe in what I'm doing. I really, even all the times that I feel like giving up and I feel like nobody cares about my music, sometimes I feel like I don't even care about my music sometimes because I'm so frustrated with life.
I care.
But at the end of the day, my why keeps me going all these years. And most likely it'll continue on and I'll probably be an old person, still messing with audio gear. I think to come to a conclusion a little bit and kind of before we end it, I want to talk about some of the pitfalls when finding your why. So these are some of the things that you may struggle with when you're finding your why. So ignoring your values and your emotions. Your why should be aligned with your core values and what makes you happy and fulfilled. And then I think this is a common one, copying someone else's why, because my why can be completely different of your why and it might not be as impactful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your why is unique to you and you should reflect your own background, your experience, and your personality. Then the next one is being afraid of change or failure. Your why is not fixed or final, but rather evolving, like I said, and adaptable to change in circumstances and your needs. And the last thing is not taking action or seeking feedback. Your why is not just a statement, but a guide for your actions and your decisions. So you should also seek feedback and support from others who can help you achieve your why or who share the same why, which is kind of what we were talking about, how having like a lot of like-minded artists around us that share this a similar why, and we respect them, they respect us, and we continue to build and kind of help hold each other accountable or help each other in each other's journey. You know.
Yeah. It's all really important.
Mhm.
Moving forward, what is your why? I think it's tied to, like, how we use a lot of our time towards our what we're passionate about
Mhm.
or what we, like, imagine for our future, like, if we're trying to pursue our dream.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's really important to, like to, to have something worth living for, not necessarily just a job. Definitely keep those hobbies and some of those things you love doing alive, whether you get paid for them or not. Yeah, I definitely hope this podcast helps you guys think about what is your why. And if you know your why, awesome. Like share it, pass it on, encourage others. Um, and yeah, moving forward, if you don't have your why defined, definitely we recommend.
Take some time and you know figure it out. I'd like to
Mhm.
just encourage you guys to share your why in the comments if you'd like, and
Yeah.
or
Do that.
maybe some of your dreams of why you're into art, why you're into music, and I hope that in doing so you can relate to other people, and we could just build this community and keep it going because
Definitely.
we're all artists at some capacity.
At heart, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we all love what we do, and we enjoy music and we enjoy art, and I think, that's a really good start to having a why, is because I love this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a good start. So, with that, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Artist at Work podcast. I'm your host, 1am.
I'm Isaias, and this is Nia.
This is my dog, Nia, our baby.
She just wanted to be here.
She just wants love.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you guys
sharing
for
that.
tuning in. Please share the podcast. Please like and comment. That'll help the algorithm to share this with other people. Or if you know someone that is a new artist or that's kind of in a hard time in their music career, definitely share this with them. I hope that it encourages them. And
Let's lift each other up.
yeah,
That's what this is all for.
hey,
Let's
stay
go.
creative. Peace.
Peace out, guys.